The Austrian energy drink giant Red Bull, which is well known for its bold investments in sport ranging from association football to motorsport and extreme sports, but one sport they've never ventured into is Rugby Union. That, however, might be about to change. In what could represent a major shift for English rugby, rumours have emerged suggesting that Red Bull is exploring a possible acquisition of the Newcastle Falcons, a team currently competing in the top flight of English rugby. If true, it would be Red Bull's first foray into rugby union and potentially transformative for the sport. Newcastle Falcons are no strangers to success. They have a very proud history with players such as Johnny Wilkinson, Toby Flood and Matthew Tate. The club even clinched the Premiership title in the 1997-98 season. However, in more recent years, the Falcons have often found themselves struggling towards the lower end of the Premiership table. Financially, the situation is concerning. Reports suggest that the club owes £14.5 million in unpaid government loans taken out during the COVID-19 pandemic, a debt that could make outside investment a necessity rather than a luxury. The financial climate for English rugby as a whole hasn't been great either in recent years. Like many sports, rugby took a heavy hit during the pandemic. Several of Premiership Rugby's most storied clubs like Wasps, Worcester Warriors and London Irish have collapsed entirely in recent seasons. Yet there are signs of recovery. 4 years after the final lockdown, Premiership Rugby secured a new 5-year television deal, and there's a growing effort to expand the sport's reach. Some games are now being played in larger association football stadiums like Saracens using the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium or Harlequins using the home of English rugby, Twickenham. If the takeover does happen, reports suggest some controversial changes may be in store, particularly for long-time Falcon fans. First, the club could be rebranded as Red Bull Rugby, in line with the company's branding strategy seen in other sports. Second, the team could relocate from Newcastle upon time 37 miles down south to Darlington. The proposed new home would be the Darlington Arena, a venue originally built for the town's football club with a capacity of around 25,000 and is currently home to Darlington Moden Park Rugby Club. Some see it as a missed opportunity to grow the sport in Newcastle, but others argue that Darlington offers untapped potential for developing rugby in the north of England. You might wonder why target the Newcastle Falcons, a team with a smaller stadium in Kingston Park that holds roughly around 7,000 with modest recent results. The answer may lie in Newcastle's sporting landscape. Football dominates the city, especially Newcastle United enjoying a resurgence under Saudi ownership. Rugby, by contrast, often thrives in places where football has a lesser presence. Consider London, the boroughs most associated with rugby union. Richmond and Kingston upon Thames have minimal football heritage. Richmond's most famous association football team is fictional. It's AFC Richmond from Ted Lasso, whilst their real association football team is non-league Hampton and Richmond Borough FC. Outside of London, rugby strongholds like Bath, Gloucester, Northampton and Exeter are backed by top-flight rugby clubs, whilst their local football sides are either semi-professional or, in the case of Northampton and Exeter, are in the EFL system but in League One. In short, rugby succeeds in niche markets where it isn't fighting football for attention, something that Red Bull might see as a strategic advantage should they want to move the team to Darlington. So, will it happen? Could Red Bull really buy the Newcastle Falcons? Well, stranger things have happened. The company is known for buying, rebranding, and transforming sports clubs to align with its global marketing strategy. From Formula One and MotoGP to football clubs in Austria, Germany, Brazil, and the United States, Red Bull's portfolio is packed with high-energy, high-visibility sports. And that's why rugby feels like such an unusual move. It lacks the global reach of Formula One or association football and doesn't immediately fit Red Bull's adrenaline-fueled brand image, although rugby is quite a hard-nosed sport. So whilst the takeover is possible, it raises an interesting question: why rugby and why now? Only time will tell if this deal comes to fruition, but if it does, it could mark the beginning of a brand new era, not just for the Newcastle Falcons, but for Rugby Union as a whole.